Good morning. I'm running late again. It's been a crazy morning. Let me get everything synced up here. My computer just doesn't like Monday mornings for some reason. How are y'all doing this morning? Did you have a good weekend? I hope so. I had a productive weekend. I felt like I was running all weekend, but I did get a lot done. So that was a good thing. Good morning, friends. I see y'all coming in. It occurred to me yesterday, I'm just going to jump right in since I'm running late, and I know y'all have more important things to do on your Monday morning than wait on me, but it occurred to me this weekend that we are 8 weeks away from Labor Day Monday as of today. And you know how much I love challenges, and we have a Labor Day challenge going. Several of us set some goals to reach by Labor Day, and I hope you're making progress on those. But if you haven't joined us, today would be a really good day to start that, because you have 8 weeks to reach those goals. Now, you might ask me, well, what are the goals? That's totally up to you. Your goal could be, I want to lose X amount of weight by Labor Day, or I want to be able to wear a particular outfit by Labor Day, or I want to improve my number of steps by so much by Labor Day. You set your own goal and then you work towards achieving it. I have several goals that I set. If you've been around this group any amount of time, you've figured out by now I'm very goal driven. I'm not competitive so much with other people, but I'm very competitive with myself. So if you want to join us, then think about it this morning. Decide what your goals for Labor Day might be, and if you want to share it with us, then share it in the comments. Thank you, Irene. This is as old as the hills. It's from the loft. It's hot in Dallas, and so I'm living in t-shirts lately. So anyway, set your goals for Labor Day and join us. I believe there is another t-shirt sale going on. Check the pinned post, which will be the one at the very top of the Facebook page. I don't know if it shows up on your phone that way, but I know it does on your computer. If you can't find it, reach out to one of the moderators and we will help you locate it. Linda, I see that you're online. If you could comment and let us know when that t-shirt sale ends, or I can't remember, I can't keep up with it, so if you could let us know, that would be awesome. Okay, I told you last week that I was going to share with you this week 7 words that in the early days of my Weight Watchers journey this last time that changed my outlook. Okay, Linda says the t-shirt sale ends July 20, so you have a little over a week to get this done on this round. Okay, so if you're new and you haven't heard my story, I'll share briefly with you that I, like many of you, have tried Weight Watchers. I don't even know how many times, probably a dozen. And every time I went in with the expectations that I was going to lose every week until, and I was going to lose huge until I didn't have any more weight to lose. And I went to my meetings and I was excited about it until the first week that I stepped on the scale and either gained or didn't have a loss. And at that moment, I decided that Weight Watchers wasn't working and I would quit. And I know I'm not alone. I thought I was at the time, but having worked for Weight Watchers for a while, I know now that that's normal. And so anyway, this last time, a couple of years ago, when I walked into the Weight Watchers meeting, I had a different mindset. I told myself this time that I wasn't going to lose the weight by a particular date. Because I'm so goal driven and because I'm so competitive, I couldn't deal with not meeting my own self-imposed deadline. So I decided if eating this way was healthy and it was the best way for me to eat long term, then why in the world would I put an end date on it? So I didn't. And it wasn't the first week that I heard this, but it was one of the very first weeks when I went back. And these are the 7 words. I hope you have a pencil and a piece of paper. And I'm going to break it down. I'm going to explain to you why this mattered so much to me. But I hope some of you get this in your heart as deeply as I did. And I hope you'll hear this. Okay, ready? 7 words. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Okay, I truly believe that we can sum up all of our arguments about which program works better, should I eat XYZ, should I try this new recipe, but there's another diet out there, blah, 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 on and on. I think we can sum it up in those 7 words. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Okay, here we go. Ready? Eat food. Just food. Not artificial substitutes for food, not modified whatever it is that looks like food, not supplements that we have in place of food, not medicine-like products that we can take because we're not eating food. Just eat food. If I spend my time and money and resources looking for something that resembles food but isn't really food, what's the point? Just eat food. I don't want to eat something that was created that tastes like an apple when I can just eat an apple. I don't need a dessert after dinner at night that has an apple in it and about 9 other ingredients that may or may not be good for me, that are partially natural and partially artificial. Just eat an apple. Just eat food. Okay, not too much. We have to learn the difference between being full and feeling stuffed. We don't have to finish it just because it's on our plate. You don't even have to finish it just because you tracked it. If you're full, stop. Don't eat more than you need. Don't eat it just because it's there. Don't eat it because somebody else didn't finish their plate and you feel bad about throwing it away. I know mothers are bad about that. That's probably how I gained most of my weight, finishing what was left on my kids' plates. We have to learn that it's okay to feel hungry. You're not going to die if you're hungry for a few minutes. Those hunger pains, I've said it before and I'll say it again, hunger pains, the growling in my stomach, I tell myself that's just the fat crying because it's having to leave. So it's okay to feel a little uncomfortable because you're a little bit hungry. Go with it. You'll be okay. You'll survive. Plan how much you're going to eat. Don't be caught off guard. Here's a good rule. When you go to a restaurant and they bring you, let's say you go to a restaurant and you order, let's say you're being really good. So you go to a steakhouse to eat and you order grilled chicken and steamed vegetables and a salad. Okay, they bring your plate. It's more than likely going to have more chicken on it than you would if you were weighing and measuring and tracking it at home. Well, I've got great news for you. You don't have to eat it all. Eat what you know to be a reasonable portion and ask for a box for the rest, or give it to somebody at the table, or just don't eat it. Not too much. If you're going to overeat on anything on that plate, overeat on the vegetables. Be reasonable in your portions. If you're eyeballing it and you're not losing weight anymore, you need to check your eyeballing, because you're probably off. You're probably putting more on your plate than you think you are. You're probably eating more than you think you are. I'm looking down at my notes that I wrote myself a note and it doesn't make any sense. Do you ever do that? Apparently I did this before I had enough coffee. When you started Weight Watchers, you were given a number of points to eat for the day. When you lose weight, we all know that those points begin to go away. You'll reach a point where it stops. You don't go any lower than that. Mine is 23 points a day. When I started Weight Watchers, had they told me that I got 20 points a day, I would have said, okay. I would have taken my 20 points and I would have figured out how to eat on 20 points a day. Well, they didn't give me 20. They gave me, I don't remember what it was, 28. Maybe, I don't remember. Whatever it is, we learn to work with it. So if your points reduce, don't get upset, just work with it. There are a lot of foods that you can eat that don't cost you any points. So you'll be fine on whatever number of points you have. You just learn to work with it. So, okay, eat food, not too much. You don't need that much. Trust me, you don't need that much. Mostly plants. Okay, let's talk about what are plants. Every vegetable, every fruit, every grain. Am I telling you to overeat on bread? Of course I'm not. What did I just say? Not too much. It's hard, really, really, really hard to overeat vegetables. Anybody ever done it? I sure haven't. I love vegetables, but I don't overeat on my vegetables. It's easier to overeat fruit, but if you were going to overeat anything, I would rather you overeat fruit than snacks and sweets and even bread. You don't need that much bread. We like it, but we don't need that much. We've got to get to the point where this controls this. This controls the hand that holds that fork. Who's driving the fork? You are. So if you eat it just because it's in front of you, you're going to see negative results on the scale. If you eat it because you need it, you've planned it, you've tracked it, then you'll start seeing the good results on the scale. You're not going to see it every week. I tell you this all the time, and I tell myself all the time, I'm a daily weigher. I've learned and I've accepted that the scale is not going to go down every day. It's not even going to go down every week. I have to be okay with that. Why do I weigh every day? Because it keeps me conscious. If I start seeing an upward trend, then I realize, okay, Pam, you're making some bad choices. You need to dial it in. But I don't quit just because the scale starts going up. I modify, I adjust, I tweak, but I don't quit. So, okay, let's recap. Eat food, just food, real food, not too much, only what you need and no more, and only when you need it. You don't need to eat all day. We're grazers, most of us. We need to stop grazing. We need to go back to meals and an occasional snack. Here's a news flash for you. This one was tough for me, and this is what I'm working on lately. No snacking after dinner. That's hard. Everybody, for the most part, hang on, I need coffee, my throat's tickling. Most of us have developed this really bad habit of thinking that we need a dessert after dinner at night. Anybody else? Don't need it. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. I think if we could get that in our brain and live by those 7 words, it would be really, really easier to be successful on this weight loss journey. Now, I just saw Angela says she eats small meals. Everybody figures out what works for them. There's a difference between small meals and grazing all day. Grazing is that mindless eating where you finish a project and you think, I need something to munch on. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're not hungry, and I mean hungry, stomach hungry, not mental hungry. Big difference. That's what I'm saying. And yes, you can track a dessert, but you don't need that dessert. If you want it and you have the points for it, and you know, a dessert, in my opinion, for me, should be an occasional thing. And occasional doesn't mean every night after dinner. If you do and you want to track it and you're successful, go for it. What I'm saying is a lot of us have gotten in some bad habits of having things like that when we're not hungry, and when we don't need it, we just want it. Okay, well, we've got to unlearn some bad behavior if we want to be successful. So I'm going to say it again. Eat food, just food. We've got to stop looking for ways to trick the system. You are the system. Who are you tricking? For instance, it tickles me to death when I see all of these crazy recipes that start the rounds, like the 2-ingredient bagel. And we've all tried it, most of us, and there's nothing wrong with it. But when we start thinking, oh, I can have it as a bagel, I can have it as a cinnamon roll, I can have it as, and the list just goes on, and all of a sudden we have figured out a way to have all of those things that got us into trouble in the first place. Now, if you took that recipe and you had a bagel and you had it maybe once or twice a week, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have figured out you can make that recipe and you can have a bagel for breakfast, you can have a cinnamon roll for snack, you can have another bagel at lunch, you can have it with a different flavor in the afternoon. You see my point? All of a sudden, it's no longer a bagel. All of a sudden, it's become another obsession that we're figuring out how many different ways we can eat this and how many times a day we can eat it. We're not eating it because we want it. We're not eating it because we need it. We're eating it now because we want it. That's one of the habits that we have to unbreak. Okay, so stop trying to cheat the system. Stop falling prey to every recipe that comes along. Desserts are an occasional treat, and stop eating when you're full. You don't need to finish your plate. You don't need to eat it just because you paid for all of it. Or you don't need to eat all of it just because you paid for it. Okay, so one more time. And I hope you wrote this down. And I really, really hope that you get it like I got it. It made such a difference. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. I really think we can sum up our journey in those 7 words. If we could live by that, this way of eating, I hate calling it a diet, this way of eating would be so much easier. It really wouldn't matter what it was called, whether it's called Simply Filling or Freestyle or Smart Points or whatever name is on it, doesn't matter. What it really boils down to is eat less, eat clean, and stop trying to trick the system. Make sense? Okay, I'm gonna, let's see, I'll see if I can see some comments that I can respond to. Is there anything more delicious than a bowl of strawberries? Fruit is God's given dessert to us. I love fruit. I just do. I have to watch my fruit because I'll get carried away and eat too much of it. I mean, good Lord, I could sit and eat a container of blueberries if I'm not careful. So, you know, I can't take a huge bowl of fruit or a huge bowl of popcorn to the couch because I'll sit there and eat the whole thing. I just have to be careful of how much I'm eating. I think we all do. I think we all got here for, you know, pretty much doing the same things. Overeating, making wrong choices. Linda says she's diabetic, can't eat a lot of fruit. None of us need to eat a lot of fruit. We need to just eat a little. Just a little. That's all we need. I hope you have a wonderful week. I am continually amazed at the encouragement that I see on the board that you give each other. And we just, you know, I'm not a member of very many groups because I just don't have time. But every now and then I'll pop in on one and see what's going on. And I'm always so happy to come back to ours because of the kindness that you show one another. Rarely do we have any bickering. Rarely do we have anybody who's just ugly, and that just means the world to me. For those of you who have been following, today ends my 30 days of no grains and no sugar. Or actually, yesterday ended it. I had a series of cluster headaches, and I had to do this to break the headache cycle. And so now I will start adding back in small amounts of grains, but keep the sugar out of my diet, and hope and pray that that's the trigger, because I can do without sugar except for a very, very, very rare treat. Grains are a little bit harder. So I appreciate, and I really thank you for your prayers during that time. It was definitely not a fun, if you've had cluster migraine headaches, they're brutal, and especially when you have to function through them. But I'm very thankful that for almost 3 weeks now I haven't had a headache, so I'm very thankful for that. But anyway, that journey is over, and so for the next 8 weeks, I'm buckling down, practicing what I preach, and hoping to see some good results by Labor Day, 8 weeks from today. I can't wait to see yours too. I think we should do another 5K over the Labor Day weekend. What do y'all think? Anybody in? Want to join me? Maybe you could do more than one. It is a long weekend, I'm just saying. I think it would be fun. I love to see those pictures come in. It just tickles me to death to think how many of us are actually moving that wouldn't be moving. Okay, one last thing. one of the members in my area reached out to me the other day. Thank you, Papa James. I love and appreciate all of you too. One of my local members reached out to me and asked what meetings I'm teaching. I'm not leading any meetings this summer because of my work schedule and some family commitments. I had to take the summer off from leading meetings, but if anybody in the Dallas area is interested in getting together, maybe not this coming Saturday, I'll be out of town this Saturday, whatever that date is, but possibly the following Saturday morning, maybe meet for coffee. If somebody wants to try to put that together, organize it, pick a place and let me know. I'd love to drop in and meet some of you face to face and just share a cup of coffee together. So if you're in my area and you're interested in doing that, just let me know. Somebody organize it, let me know where it's going to be, and I'll be there. Anyway, I'm going to get off of here and let you get your morning started. I've got to get to work, or I'm at work. I've got to get to work. But I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to hear your progress. I can't wait to hear what you think about the 7 words and see if it makes as much of a difference to you as it has to me. I've got something really interesting, I think, lined up for next week, and so join us, and I will do my best to get this up on YouTube within the next couple of days for those who aren't part of our group. And if you're watching on YouTube and you're not part of our group, but you need a group of supportive friends, we have the best, and we encourage you to join us at it's used to be Weight Watchers Over 50. It's just WW Over 50 now. So have a wonderful week, and I will see you on the board. Bye, everybody.